Good morning from Black-Tino Farms. This is Melissa. So it is the end of October and it's starting to get cold. Like right now it's about 13 degrees Celsius, and at nights it can get down to maybe +1 or even 0 in fact. And I've been looking at the weather for the next few days up to next Sunday, so into the beginning of November, and I saw that there's a potential to snow. So there's no more fooling around. We gotta get this garden and the animals prepared for winter. So I'm just outside the garden area here. As you can see, everything's starting to die down. We'll take a closer look, but also we got to get these. If I'm going to use these greenhouses to produce some more vegetables during the winter, we got to get these greenhouse walls down and protected. And I got to figure out a way how to keep these greenhouses warm and how to water plants during the winter. So let's take a look at the tomatoes. Not looking very well, but the rain, we still get some rain. So we know that it is getting a lot of water. Oops, that one fell because some of these cherry tomatoes or plum tomatoes or grape tomatoes have are bursting. Let's see. Can't show you one. That one that just fell, can't find it. So I know the soil does not need any watering. It's just we're almost in November. These plants are dying off, but still amazing how they're still giving us fruits. All right, keep walking by. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, we need to roll down this tarp to close it off, clean out these beds. The chickens have been doing such a good job. Look how healthy these tomatoes are. Even though the leaves are kind of dying down, look how healthy these green tomatoes look. So why do I have chickens in the garden knowing that they will eat my vegetation? Well, I know that we're coming to the end of the garden season. I'm done with this garden, and they supply gold. Gold being their chicken manure, feeding my soil for next year. And look at scratching, eating the bugs as well. Look at that. That's why I have them in here. Okay, look at those green beans. Still getting lots of green beans. Having green beans still for dinner. Some of these green beans I will save, for example, the seeds for next year. Just walking through the sunflowers. I saved the stalks of the sunflowers. Don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. They're very dense. Could possibly use them for posts next year. Don't know yet. See if it decomposes. And then just going back to the chickens. Look at all this chicken manure here. Gold, natural, organic feed for fertilizer, compost for my garden. Look at I'm still getting Brussels sprouts, even though it's getting cooler. I find Brussels sprouts and broccoli last pretty long into the cold season. I have been putting down some garlic in this bed. I gotta de-weed that, take that big ugly weed out of there. But look at mine. This is my lavender, still going strong. My sweet onion back there. This is remnants of what's left after I feed my chickens pumpkin. They love pumpkin. Look how they just hollow this thing out. And you know what? Just leave it there, let it decompose for next year. No biggie. Some more tomatoes here looking juicy and healthy and green. Going through here, my artichoke plants. And look at my pansies. I love pansies. I don't know how beneficial they are into the garden. I think the leaves might be edible, I'm not too sure. But you know what? If you pop the heads off of the flower, off the stem here, there's seeds in there you can save for and grow for next year as well. So the asparagus, I've finally finished. Honestly, the asparagus lasts up until maybe end of September. So no more asparagus popping through. Some more weeds I have to take out. Look, see, this is what I'm talking about. The chickens love Swiss chard. And I love Swiss chard too, so I don't know. I guess I'm gonna start again next year and not have the chickens in here while I'm growing Swiss chard. My basil's dying because it's getting cold. Parsley looks like it's a nice plant for cold weather. I'm surprised my cilantro's still coming up. That's surprising for me. The marjoram, I haven't tasted this yet. I do want to dry it in my dehydrator, which I love now. I dehydrated some of my peppers, my chili peppers. Oh, and look at this. The first time ever, my echinacea plant. Echinacea is, I know it's a great herb healing plant for when you have colds, but I love how beautiful the flower grows. So I'm waiting to see if this will really pop up. See, there's more flowering down here as well. Make sure to check out my Instagram, where once it blooms, I'm gonna post it. My sage, I cut and dehydrate a lot of my sage. I love sage to make gravy and season my chicken. So we did bring down the walls of this greenhouse, but as you can see, I gotta do something about this hole here. It's a two-person job. Someone to hold this while I guess duct tape it. I really needed to get these walls up because inside the house during the summer it's just way too hot. And look at my gigantic marigolds. They just overflowed into the aisle here. Won't do that again. I grew way too much. I didn't think it would grow so heavy. And again, another tip, I've done this tip before. Just pop off the head here of this marigold. Open it up. And there you have the seeds for next year. Why don't people do this? Why don't you save your seeds instead of wasting your money? Wasting your money and buying new seeds. Here you go. Now, remember I did start doing squash again? I think this is just dying down. It's just... Unless because I didn't compost it, like fertilize it, I don't know. Or the chickens, like look at the leaves. Chickens getting at it. That's kind of like the downside in living in Canada, Ontario. You have to endure the cold weather and then wait a whole another 6 months to start over again. But then again, there is a benefit, right? You get 6 months of just resting, right? And then you feel more excited when spring comes and you want to just start working into your garden. That's one way of looking at it. So here we go. Look at my kale, my beautiful kale, my Italian kale. The chicken's been eating it. And tomatoes, my outdoor tomato area, still going. Look at these nice juicy cherry tomatoes. See what I'm telling you? Oh, it fell again. It is getting enough water, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't see the blistering. But look how still healthy and going strong. Here, I feed my chickens. Here you go. Free feed for my chickens. And my turkeys and my ducks, they love cherry tomatoes. Okay, and lastly, let's head over to my hot pepper house. So in here, it does need watering. Oh, look at this. Ooh. I can feel the stem of this plant that it's cold. So, and over here, oh, this is just, it fell, is my basil that we're trying to dry in here. But yeah, I need to close up this house right now, so it can be nice and warm. So what are my challenges for the winter time? Well, one is keeping this greenhouse warm enough to have these peppers growing out through the whole year. I've never grown peppers throughout the year, so I'm wondering, will it continue to fruit? So meaning, will it flower and produce fruit for the next 6 months, or will it become dormant but still have foliage and just keep the foliage going, and then summer comes and it'll start to flower again? So I'm not too sure. So another challenge is, again, keeping the house warm. So we have the greenhouse. We do have nice light exposure, but keeping the greenhouse warm. So there's a few things that I can do. One, I was going to keep chickens in here to have that natural body warmth of the chickens, but my chickens are eating my peppers. So that's a big no-no. They're not going to be in here in the wintertime. Having hay, straw on the ground to as an insulation. And another thing is having, moisture. Moisture rises, and so one way of getting moisture is maybe having buckets of water situated throughout the greenhouses. So that's a couple ideas. I'm going to see if there's anything else I can do. I'm open to suggestions. Leave some comments of if you have experience in keeping your greenhouse warm throughout the summer, especially this challenging of keeping peppers. I know that there are some hardy vegetables you can grow, like beets, carrots, lettuce, throughout the winter, which I may or may not do because I do want some downtime. But yeah, I'm open to suggestions. So another obstacle I have is actually watering. So I will show you the hose is connected to a well system, and I think the previous owner said that they didn't dig deep enough to lay the piping down where during the winter time that the pipes don't freeze. So I don't know if I will have access to a hose, which can be very convenient instead of lugging around buckets of water from the house and bringing them into the greenhouse to water these plants. So that's going to be interesting, because I don't know if I can do that for the whole winter. That's pretty intensive. And yeah, so those are a couple of challenges that come to mind. I may have more, but we'll see. So another thing I'm going to have to think about is critters that will come into this house and make a home. Look at, I found these holes down here while I was watering my plants. They're pretty deep. So I don't know if it's a mouse, or I hope it's a mouse, because anything else, anything bigger than that, it's gonna scare the shit out of me when I start working in the winter. Here's the well that I was talking to you guys about. So I'm not too sure if this well is an actually separate drill well for out here, or it's somehow connected to the house. So piping laid down from the house towards this area. Then I have the a connector. I put the two hoses. One hose is to feed the animals over there, the ducks, and fill up their pool. But this hose leads to my greenhouses, to my garden. So that challenge is keeping this hose insulated so it doesn't freeze. So again, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. Would love some suggestions on if you have experience in keeping your greenhouses warm during the winter time, and I mean cost efficiently. Yeah, can't wait to see your comments. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, and thanks again for watching from Black-Tino Farms.